You can either go down the brand influencer route, which is, I'm just looking to get big companies to pay me for promoting their products or their clothing or whatever. Or you're going down the service provider route. So you're like, okay, I want people to get to know me. I also want to be able to provide value in the form of like, information or entertainment or whatever, because I want people to hire my services or, purchase my products. And I found that whether people are clear on what they're doing or not, I think that some people are just like subconsciously choosing one route or the other. So you got some people that are like, they're not producing anything in terms of this is going to help anyone. They're simply like, I look really good and I'm going to post me looking really good. I'm going to post me doing really impressive like physical things and looking really good. And that is very evidently going to draw more of the sort of brand ambassador type opportunities. And that, without necessarily being cognizant of it, they definitely want that more. And then you've got the other types that are like, okay, like I'm really trying to find how I can help people with these problems that they're having. And they're likely to then draw more sort of like B2C, where it's like, okay, they're going to get more clients and more customers and that kind of thing. And I don't think people are always super aware that what they're doing, and that they're like doing that they're not doing it on purpose. They've kind of just like picked a route. So I don't do anything that would draw any brand towards me at all. I'm very evidently looking for people that I can help and then looking to help them. Whereas I can think of a lot of the trainers that work in my gym are definitely more on I'm trying to like really promote myself and my brand, my personal brand. And yeah, looking for opportunities from like larger brands and larger companies where they can get more exposure. And interestingly, I think when I look at your social media, it's kind of a mix of both.
I was actually going to say that it's a bit of a mix of both. I want to be able to provide some value, and it's good to work with some of these brands as well. So I feel like it's like mutually beneficial. So I'm able to stick to my values as like a coach, help people, and then support myself as well.
Pretty much everything that you do, second you pick up a dumbbell, we get to see it, right? In terms of like the kind of feedback that you get, is there something like repetitively that you've noticed happens that like people are like actually getting something from it?
I found accountability.
Okay.
So the more I'm posting, I'm sort of giving people my accountability. And I found that's actually helping other people to train. So it's sort of motivating them in a sense.
Yeah.
And that's why I try and post as much as possible, because it's like I've helped maybe about 4 or 5 people just by me showing my workouts. And obviously I post like the full list of it so they can go on and do it. And sometimes I have to adapt for some because they can't. And it's just joyful.
Do you know what? That's amazing. I feel like I've asked that question before and like no one's really been able to give a solid answer to that. I would not have even really taken that into account. And the key word there was accountability.
Yeah.
And it just never really occurred to me that would be the effect of posting your training online. Because I've posted my training online in the past and always kind of wondered like, what is this actually achieving? Is anyone most people aren't like telling you what they think of what you posted, right? Unless you kind of ask them. And I can see that actually happening as well.
Yeah.
That someone is watching you be consistent with your training, tick the boxes. And obviously you're a great example of being athletic. So it's kind of like, it's inspirational as well.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great. Like I'm seeing somebody be consistent, put in the work, and then actually get an outcome that most people would be like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool if I could do that too. And yeah, actually then someone feeling like, okay, cool. This gives me a bit more of a reason to keep doing it. Or to show up when I didn't feel like showing up. Yeah, 100%. I'm generally quite a skeptical individual, but I can buy into that posting your training would actually lead to people sharing in the accountability that you're giving yourself. That is pretty amazing. I like that. Yeah.
I think it was probably one of my top ones.
What else do you find is useful to post?
A lot of knowledge. So teaching people exactly how X is done or why I've programmed X and X, because then they get a bit more of an understanding of, oh, so he's in his base phase for running, for instance, and he's just doing easy runs. He's not doing any hard sessions, and this is because he wants to build his aerobic capacity. And then he's going into the build phase, so he's now starting to add some intervals in to get his speed up. And then after that, build peak phase, for instance, so he's getting into that race specific stuff. So he's doing a 10k, for instance, and his interval sessions will be at 10k pace. He's sharpening his tools. And I found people have taken that. Some use it, some don't. But again, I'm still trying to provide that value to people and help them, and it has helped some.
I mean, yeah, sharing insights, and as you're sharing insights for people being like, do you know what? I didn't even know that anybody did that. I didn't know that there was a phase before this phase, or like, I didn't know that somebody would be doing easy runs. I just thought it would just be like, I just train hard.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if I turn up and I train hard, and that's all that ever happens, and then I get, you know, really good. One of the things I used to try and show people back in the day when I used to train people for bodybuilding shows, because everybody just assumed that it was this super, super strict, stringent, like, and to some extent it is, for some phases of that process, like you have to be like dramatically locked in.
Yeah.
But there's also phases of the process where it's a bit more relaxed, and also the fact that we're dealing with human beings, they're not perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And actually being able to show these individuals that had these crazy physiques, you know, like got super dialed in, like one shows, and just to show some of the imperfections that happened in their process, whether it was like this part of the plan we're kind of being a bit more relaxed, or just because you're a human being, you've stopped following the plan and you kind of veered off to the left here, but you've managed to pull back and still get the outcome. And I did try my best to like show people, like, as much as impressive as these individuals look, they're still human, and they still make mistakes, and they're still, like, you know, not necessarily following the plan 100% all the time. And they still feel the same doubts, and they still have the same thing of, I can't really be bothered to go to the gym today. I don't want to eat this meal anymore. Like, you know, I'm having problems with other people in my life because of choices that I'm making. Because whenever I speak to like an everyday person that's not like super really into training, they have an impression of people that are really fit, or, you know, or like have great physiques, that they somehow live these like perfect lifestyles.
Yeah. And it's a facade.
It's a complete
None of us
facade.
do.
No one does. But to that point, right, going back to the sort of service provider brand ambassador thing, right, the brand ambassador types, they do present that facade though.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I can see that.
It's a curated social media profile that only shows them when they're looking good, only shows the healthy meals that they eat, only shows the good training sessions that they do. And of course, like, I'm massively generalizing. Quite a lot of them have little moments where they kind of share, like, oh, like, I've had a crap training session today, or you know, I've decided to not stick to my diet today, or whatever. But generally speaking, as an overall, from, you know, you're just a consumer of the fitness side of social media, when you look, and everyone's always just like, you know, single digit body fat,
I only eat this.
I-
I'm perfect.
that kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
think you are right on that. Social media now it's such a hard place to go on, and I could only imagine for someone who's like just coming into the fitness industry, for instance, you have your influencers are like, no, I do this, I don't do this, do that, and it can get quite confusing sometimes.
It's a lot of pressure, I reckon, for somebody quite new. When I started out, there wasn't really actually social media at the time. At best, there was like Facebook just starting up, and everybody was just sharing pictures of their nights out. Like every weekend, there would be an album of like 40 photos of everybody just, you know, being drunk and silly, right? Whilst you still felt pressure as a personal trainer to look and perform a certain way, like nobody was really looking at you too much, and, you know, you're training your clients, and it wasn't too much of a big deal. And then I've had time to like grow and mature as a person, as a trainer, and everything, to like, I feel very self-assured within myself. I'm not that fussed if somebody can lift more than me or looks better than me or whatever. I'm like, it doesn't really affect my capacity to do my role or how I feel about myself. But if I was starting today, And my first thoughts are like, oh crap, I better get like some sort of social media presence. And to do well on social media, I'm going to need to look like like how other people that are like got millions of followers on social media look. And it's like, well, you can't all be Simi and Panda. Um, like,
Oh, it's a hard
I'm
world out
sorry that
here.
you're not that good looking, right? I don't think it's going to change.
Yeah, I don't think it will either.
I don't think people are going to stop buying into the image because it sells. And I do kind of feel for people that are like maybe not, that gets in the way of them recognizing their own value
Yeah.
of like, wait, well, where's my space in this whole kind of thing? How do I, how do I make a name for myself, and how do I get something positive out of this? How do I have positive impact? I can't deadlift 300 kilos, or I don't have a six pack or whatever, let alone all the people that you're actually trying to help, thinking like, well, why should I even bother? I can't do all of these things, and I don't even know how much protein I have in a day. Breakfast is Cocoa Pops, sometimes dinner too.
That's a good dinner.
Like, what you mean I'm gonna start eating vegetables? That's not happening, right? And going to the gym is like, I don't want to go there. And yeah, I'm curious to see how the competing interest of like what people are being pushed to show for larger brands to sponsor them versus like general public health, and how the fitness industry like impacts that. And right now, this is just my opinion, I can't say it for a fact, is feels like that brand ambassador side is having more of an impact and pushing it more in that direction.